All my life, I've known what my fears are. Whether it be spiders, ghosts, the monsters under my bed when I was a kid. I just never knew that this would be my biggest fear. You know, you always picture going to the beach with your family, enjoying yourself, swimming in the sea. But for me and many others out there, it's terrifying.
About 40 miles up the coast, a swimmer is recovering this morning from a shark attack. This happened off Manhattan Beach near Los Angeles. As Carter Evans reports, the man is now talking about his narrow escape from a great white.
The group of 14 swimmers was just offshore when the great white shark attacked.
Look, he's yelling still.
Unless he got bit.
Witnesses watched in horror from the Manhattan Beach pier as others desperately swam for shore with Stephen Robles, injured and bleeding.
I felt that crunch right into my chest and that compression with the teeth coming in my ribs.
Robles, a competitive
Hey buddy, you can't park your bike here.
Jackass. Guess I'm walking around. Great. The reason I was so eager on getting to the docks was because I'd recently bought a new speedboat and scuba diving gear. And like any normal person, I wanted to test it out. main reason I bought the boat was for fishing. You know, something to clear my head. But I saw that the gear was also on for sale, and I couldn't refuse it. There's always a first try for everything, right? There I went, driving out into the ocean, thinking I was just going for a little paddle. I was wrong. I should have turned back. I should have known what I was getting myself into. Whoa, shit. Can't believe that I thought this was actually a good idea, to drive that far away from land. I don't even know what I was thinking. I guess I just wanted a little time to myself. You know, get away from big crowds and civilization. I had a lot on my mind at the time. I needed to think. So instead of just sitting around doing nothing, I thought I'd do something. And this was that something. Yep, I think this is far enough. Obviously, I waited for sunrise. I'm smart enough to know that diving in when it's dark is a really shit idea. Miles away from land, I eventually got geared up. I was ready to see the wildlife. You know, whales, dolphins, stuff like that. The waves aren't too bad. I just need to be careful, that's all. I wasn't too keen on the idea of my boat drifting off of me, so I kept an eye on it. That was the last thing I should have been keeping my eye on. Absolutely nothing. No whales, no fish, no dolphins, no life. Just darkness. That's what I was shouting at. Nothing but darkness. I felt like the only living thing in there. I hated looking down, and I hated looking up. I couldn't even tell how deep down I was anyway. Why did I do this? I'm sure we've all felt like we're being watched by someone. But for me, I wasn't being watched by someone. I was being watched by something. Eventually, my mind got the better of me. And I knew for a fact I wasn't the only thing down here. I'd had enough. I wanted to get back to the surface and get back on my boat. My heart was going 100 miles an hour. I felt like something was chasing me. I don't know where, but I felt it. Even being on the surface was terrifying. Once you're in, at least you can see what's below you and around you. But once you're out, you can't see anything. I took off my gear and began searching for the way back. But a fog had laid down. I couldn't see anything. I didn't know where I was, where I was going, where I was drifting off to. I was lost. I was stranded at sea. My first instinct was to just drive. I thought if I did that, I would eventually come across it. God, I've never been more wrong in my entire life. To be honest, I didn't even feel safe on the boat either. I felt like some giant monster would wrap its tentacles around me and pull me down. Couldn't help but think like that. It was a mistake to buy a boat that was only going for $100K. What was I thinking? $100,000 for a speedboat. Wasn't even fast, and it broke down on me. Now, I was really stranded. The only thing I could do was sit there and wait for the fog to disappear. Either that or I could try and fix the boat. But I'm no mechanic. There it was. After 2 hours, I'd found it again. But I was miles away. My boat wasn't working. All I had on my back was my scuba gear. I knew what I had to do. And I was terrified. Adrenaline. It's meant to make you go faster. It's meant to make you stronger. But it doesn't work in the sea. No. Everything's in slow motion. Everything slows you down. It's useless. My strength and stamina were the only things getting tested. The ocean's like a mind game. You can only think about one thing, and that is swim. 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 At least for me it was. I just wanted to get back. I wanted to get home. Get dry. Get warm. It was freezing out here. I thought I was gonna die. The most unnerving feeling in the world is knowing something's there, but you just can't see it. Just like spiders. They're there and you gotta roll a newspaper and go back and they're gone. I can see anything. I knew something was watching me, following me, getting ready to drag me down and eat me or drown me. Bad thoughts were seeping in my mind and I couldn't help it. I don't panic much, but I was losing stamina at every minute. I was exhausted. I was freezing. Time almost slowed down for me. I just needed to keep going. It was the only way. I was either gonna drown, freeze to death, or get eaten by something. I couldn't help but think about it. Over and over, I pictured scenarios of what would happen. Because I knew it would. I knew I would die. But I kept swimming. I kept swimming. This is not how it's supposed to go. This is not how I die. Cliff got the better of me. But seeing that drop into nothing, it shook me to my core. into a deep hole, and I'd either be eaten or drowned. My mind was in a really dark place. I needed to get out right now. I hated looking back. It was the only way I could make sure that I was safe. See nothing following me. Somehow, put me to ease. I could hear ever so faintly seagulls in the distance. I couldn't see the shoreline that well, but I knew I was getting closer. Finally, after being in this ocean for 6 hours, I saw my first sign of life. A small school of fish. Now that's a real symbol of hope. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted something. Is that a jet ski? Human life? That must mean I'm close. There it was. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. The beach. I'd made it. I'd beaten nature at its own game. My God. Taking that off was the best feeling in my entire life. Because it wasn't that weighing me down. No. It was the fear. The fear of dying. The fear of being washed by some huge creature that could either drown me or eat me up in 1 second. But now, I realize, as I feel the land below my feet, I won. I'm alive. I'm a living man. I did it. I got back. I don't know how, but I got back. I'm happy. I discovered a new fear that I will never forget. And it'll always be at the top of my list. Me and the ocean, we don't get along well. And I tell you what, I don't think I'm going back in there anytime soon.
Sea, somewhere waiting for me. My lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships that go sail